Welcome to Click to Learn More, the show that sounds like clickbait.
But it's actually two dorks.
I'm Dorm.
I'm Liddy.
Hi, Liddy.
Hi, Dorm.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Thank you for making that joke again on air.
Yeah, we did it. We each did it before we were recording, and now
That's
we're doing
true.
it during
Look
recording.
behind the curtain. The sausage is made.
Peep behind.
Liddy, this is the first show in the new apartment.
It is. I wonder, do you think the acoustics are like
They're probably
super,
the exact same.
super great? Nah, they're great.
Way better?
Yeah, they're
Who knows?
They're
Maybe.
super great.
Today, Liddy, we're going to talk about this suggestion sort of came from my mom.
Okay.
Because she suggested doing a broader topic that I then narrowed down to make a topic of my own.
And it's not about murder.
No, it's not.
Okay.
That would be her suggestion for you. My sources today are... My sources today are myself...
Oh.
Because I watched something in question, Wikipedia and the Game Show Network.
Okay.
Liddy,
I like that you said myself because I watched it.
Yeah,
it happened. I
true.
was there.
Well, I wasn't there for the original airing, but I today watched a documentary.
Oh.
So I have knowledge. So I guess the documentary is also my source. I don't really... But I watched the original source. I'll explain it later.
Okay.
Liddy, today we're going to be talking about Michael Larson.
Okay.
And how he beat the system on a game show called Press Your Luck.
Press your luck. Okay.
Yes.
The big money, no whammies.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the way Press Your Luck works?
Okay, so I kind of think so. So is it like the lights that go around and then you hit the button and you don't want the whammies?
Yes.
Is it kind of like that thing in Mr. Gaddy's where it's like you know what I'm talking about? Where it
You mean
goes.
Gaddy Town? God, you're old.
It was Mr. Gaddy's when I grew up.
It's Gaddy Town now.
Well, anyway, it was Mr. Gaddy's when I was growing up, so deal with it.
Yeah.
Also, the show's from like the 70s. What are you talking about?
1984, thank you.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm from that era too. So it like goes around in like a UFO shape,
Right.
and then there's the light, and then it has
I
to
love that
fall
game.
under the specific thing, and you hit the
sort
button.
of.
Okay, so explain what is this thing?
All right. There are 3 contestants that compete on each episode of Press Your Luck.
Okay.
Usually a returning champion and 2 new challengers. If a champion retired undefeated, which can happen, I'll let you know when that happens. 3 new contestants would take place in the game.
Okay.
Each game began with a trivia round where the contestants tried to earn spins, which was then used on the show's game board referred to as the big board.
So it was up behind them. Was it a vertical board or was it a horizontal board?
It was like a large television, kind of.
Okay.
Think of that scale.
So it was rigged.
Well, hold on.
I mean,
You're getting ahead of me here, Lid.
I don't trust anything that's like on a television screen. It's like when you go to a casino and they're like, play video poker. And you're like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna win here.
Yeah.
Can't be rigged at all.
I
It's
think
like
going
that.
to a casino and then playing video poker.
No, I didn't. I walked past it. I went to a casino because they were filming the poker show, the poker tournament show.
World Poker Tour?
Yeah. They were filming that, and I wanted to go down there and see it. And
Yeah,
there wasn't
that's awesome.
anybody on there that I recognized, but I went down there, and then
No
we
Daniel
didn't.
Negreanu?
No, and then we didn't realize we were on a boat. Did I tell you the story? We didn't realize we were on a boat because you have to be on water to gamble.
Yeah,
and
that makes
we
sense.
didn't know, and we were like, "Hey, we're trying to find the World Poker Tour." Like me and my mom. And he was like, "Oh, you have to go back onto the boat." And we were like, "What boat?" And he's like, "The one you just came off of." And we were like, "We were on a boat." We had no clue, so
Yeah.
we would be useless in an apocalypse. Go ahead.
Gotcha. You can't identify watercraft.
Yeah, keep that in mind.
That's a problem.
And I thought of it, and I was like, "Oh, it's interesting because they're not called floors; they're called like levels
Decks.
or decks." Yeah, they're called decks. So I was like,
Not a card pun either.
and it said decks.
Right.
How did we not know that we were on a boat? I don't know.
'Cause
Anyway,
you thought it was a card pun.
well, thank you for giving me that credit that wasn't at all due.
Yeah, of course. So each game begins with a trivia round. A question is posed to the contestants, I cannot speak, who tried to be the first to buzz in with a correct answer.
Okay.
Once a contestant gave an answer, the remaining opponents were given a choice of either that answer or 2 additional answers provided by the host, and then you select one.
Oh.
So, for example, if the question was, the 25-cent coin is otherwise known as, and someone buzzed in and said the quarter, then it would say, okay, is it the quarter, the nickel, or the dime? That kind of thing. So
okay.
the other 2 had a multiple choice with the contestant's answer thrown in.
Okay, so when they had to do the trivia at the beginning, was that ever themed, or was it just like all,
No, it was just random trivia.
like just all trivia?
Yeah, it's just kind of. It was very like that era of game shows, like Card Sharks did it too, where it was just like a lot of like normal everyday life stuff. Like
okay.
Very basic trivia. Like it would be if there were categories of trivia, it would be in just like the general category.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So, okay. Like if like a Trivial Pursuit kind of game, it would just be like a
super specific. It was just like,
broad topic.
This is the colors on this country's flag. Or,
okay.
This is the cleaning products you use.
Kind of a softball, like kind of
really
a little,
easy.
like
They're
a little bit of a lob.
Crazy.
Okay,
yeah.
Coach pitch. Okay.
It was rare that, although it did happen in this episode, it was rare that there would be an answer or a question that just went unanswered. Nobody got it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
If the contestant that buzzed in gave the correct answer, so the one who gave the answer before there were choices, they earned 3 spins.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
A correct multiple choice answer from the other 2 contestants that didn't buzz in was worth 1 spin. Okay. So the incentive was there to try to get there first, but often you would be cutting the host off and taking a chance on thinking you had the question right.
Like what they do in Jeopardy. In Jeopardy. If you cut the host off, if you buzz in before he's done, you have to answer it.
Trebek always finishes the question.
Does he?
Yes.
Oh, I thought...
Family Feud buzzes in.
Oh.
Or at least they always show the full question on Jeopardy in text form. I don't know if Trebek always finishes. I think he does, but...
Okay. I thought they would cut him off and he'd be like, go ahead, or whatever, and then you'd have to be like, oh, God, I don't know.
No, because they always show the tile of the text question on Jeopardy.
Oh.
Like they show the blue with the white and black text.
I thought it popped up after they were done. Go ahead.
Okay. I watched way too much Jeopardy. So they won 1 spin if they buzzed in correctly. If a contestant buzzed in but failed to give an answer, the contestant was locked out of the question. It was treated the same way as if nobody had buzzed in.
Okay.
So if nobody buzzed in, then it's just like, okay, well, here are your 3 choices. After 4 questions were asked, play moved on to the first round of the big board. So the board consisted of 18 spaces arranged in a 6x5 rectangle.
Okay.
So 6 on the top, 5 on each sides.
Okay.
Each of which had a screen that displayed one of 3 items, which changed rather rapidly.
I'm going to look this up while you talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, if you've never seen the Pretz Your Luck board, it's a good idea to look it up. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And a randomizer light, which the contestants stopped by hitting their buzzer.
Okay.
So it would flash between a bunch of different screens. Think of 18 little televisions, basically, is what it was. Around, like, a bigger screen.
Oh, I see.
And one light would indicate which screen it was on. And so your goal was to stop the light on a prize that you want to win.
I remember the little whammy guy.
Yes. Now, the thing that was working against you in this was something called a whammy. So the contestants would take their spins from the first round, and whoever had the least amount of spins went first. So say you had 2 spins, right? Mm-hmm. You, the little light goes around the thing. It's like beep, 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 and you're trying to just stop it in a place that's got a lot of money, or a trip to Maui, or an exercise cycle, which is how they refer to it. It made me laugh. Or things like that.
If you have 3, do you have to use all 3 of them?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
There is more strategy at play than just what we're talking about here.
Okay.
But the goal is to stop it on a good prize, or at least stop it on something that's not a whammy.
Yeah, because the whammy loses all your money.
The whammy clears everything you've won up to that point.
Okay.
So the first round is kind of like the softball round.
Mm-hmm.
Normally you don't have a lot of spins at play there. Like the episode that we're going to get into later, the first woman had 7 spins in the first round, which was like a lot.
Whoa.
Normally you have around like 3 or 4. So the idea is you keep going. It's basically like a game of chance. You wait to stop the button. Liddy's pulled up a GIF or a video of this.
So I was going to ask, like, is this legit? Like, did the little, like, whammy move
exactly
too?
How fast
okay, so the whammy moved as well?
Yes, so everything is randomized, so to speak.
So you couldn't just... Oh, okay.
Yeah, you didn't just wait for it to land on a spot.
Yeah, because it could
too.
shift to be a whammy as soon as you hit it.
Right.
Okay.
So think of like throwing a dart at a dartboard, but the scores are changing each time, each like second.
Everything's
almost like that.
Always moving. Okay.
It's way easier just visualize than explain. But once you look at it, you can.
It makes sense once I had a visual representation.
Let's see here. Cash amount and prize values were added to the contestant's score, while on any of the several whammy spaces resulted in the player's score resetting to 0. Mm-hmm. So you could get on your first 3 spins $1,000, $500, and a trip to Maui. Off the 4th spin, if you got a whammy, all that was wiped.
Yeah.
It was like hitting bankrupt in Wheel of Fortune.
Hence, big money, no whammies.
Exactly. That's why you want big money, no whammies. In the first big board round, play started with the contestants with the fewest spins, unless there was a tie, in which case the contestants seated further left started. For each square the contestant stopped the randomizer light on, the value of that square was added to the contestant's bank, and that contestant kept playing, pressing his or her luck, until running out of spins or deciding to pass.
So you can pass.
Any pass spin went to the contestant opponent with the higher amount of money, or if tied, the opponent chosen by the passing contestant, which is always interesting.
Ooh.
A contestant receiving pass spins has to take them.
Ooh.
And cannot pass until all the pass spins have been used. Or if they hit a whammy with the pass spins, then they turn over into spinnable passes or passable spins. Sorry.
Okay.
So you have a passed column that's red and an earned column that's yellow.
Okay.
So say Dave passes you 3 spins. Your 3 would now be in the red like have to take column.
Oh, okay. All right. I see. So you have a higher chance now of hitting a whammy and losing
They're basically
everything.
saying like, all right, here you go. You got to go.
You're basically saying, close your eyes while I throw knives at you.
Right. Nut up or shut up, basically.
Yeah.
So once all the spins have been played, a second round of trivia questions ensued. Same rules as before. Same amount of questions. Then a second big board round followed with much higher stakes in play. This time, contestants play in the order of their scores from the first round. It carries over.
Okay.
Unless there was a tie again. Any pass spins as before went to the opponent with the higher score. Now, the way the second round worked is a lot more interesting. The first round is very much like beginner's part of Press Your Luck or Win.
Yeah.
There are no like real big bonuses.
It's just enough to like get you comfortable.
Right.
It's just like a false sense of security because you're like, all right, cool, I feel pretty good about this. And then they're going to just take it away from you.
Right. Or they came up with this idea and thought, oh crap, this is only 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
We need an extra 10-minute segment. Let's do 2 rounds, but one shorter round.
Yeah. What else are we going to do?
So the second round, there is the added bonus of having money and a spin as an earnable spot.
Oh.
So, like, say you could land on $4,000 plus a spin.
Oh, it's on the same
Yes.
tile. Okay.
So not only did you win $4,000, you basically retained a spin, didn't use your spin just then. So theoretically, you could infinitely, if you kept landing on these highly unlikely to land on spots, you could theoretically play forever.
You just keep going.
Because you would keep earning $4,000 in a spin, $3,000 in a spin, $5,000 in a spin. So you're just never losing your spins.
And then the game has to be over, and then you have to come back as the reigning champ the next time.
Right, unless. And the reason Champions retired is because at the time, like most game shows at the time, there was a cap on what you could win. So if you won $25,000 in one episode or more,
so they'd force you to retire?
You retired.
Oh,
you
okay.
So
you don't get to say, I would like to walk away with the amount of money I have.
No.
Oh.
You either...
Because I'd get $100 and be like, see ya.
Well, see, you can...
Just happy to be here.
pass your spins.
Oh. But then somebody could pass them back around to me, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, no, that's no fun.
No, you can't just do something in the middle of the episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to get $1,000 and be like, all right, see y'all. Great to be here. Love ya. And then just dip with my $1,000.
Okay. So, that's basically the rules of Whammy. Play would continue until someone earned the most money, basically. Okay. Just a little factoid here before we move on to the specific episode. 1 in 6 spins, statistically, resulted in a whammy.
1 in 6.
Just keep that in mind.
And there's how many spots? 18?
18
18 spots? On. Ooh.
But 18... No, I'm saying 1 in 6 spins, not 1 in 6
spins.
spots.
Sorry.
There are probably more whammies on the board than that.
Yeah.
So I was surprised it was that low. I was expecting like 1 in 4. It seems like people hit whammies all the time.
Yeah.
If you watch the show.
1 in 6.
Liddy, let's take a trip to May 19th, 1984.
Ooh, good year.
Returning champion Ed, who has strawberry blonde hair with big thick glasses and a mustache
because it's 84.
Had just won $11,500 on the last episode,
which is basically $2 million in this economy.
Listen, it's around in this time. It's a round double, so he won about $20,000.
Yeah.
In today's money and inflation.
And he wished that he could leave at that point and say deuces.
He said when the hosts what is the host name? I forgot.
Oh, I know. I could see his face because he looked like
Peter Tamarkin.
Because he just looked like every smarmy like host during that time.
Yeah, he has like Lego dude hair.
Yeah.
Like the black swoop over, like that exact hair.
Like you would make a knock noise if you
right.
tapped on it.
Hollow.
Yeah.
So Ed was there. He was the champion.
Ed.
And when Peter asked, he was like, "You won $11,500. What are you going to do with it?" Because I've watched the entire episode that we're talking about.
Yeah.
he was like, I just don't know, Peter. I just can't believe it. And the way he said it was so funny. I watched it like 3 times. I started cracking up. Just his intonation was awesome.
I love how people talked in the 70s and 80s, especially on those game shows, because it'd be like, I just don't know. Yeah, can you believe it? Like, it was just like so overly acted. It was kind of out of control.
Michael Larson, our second competitor in the middle square, if we're talking about Hollywood squares, was an ice cream truck driver in the summer from Southern Ohio, around the Cincinnati area, and Lebanon, I think, is actually where he's from. I've actually been to Lebanon.
I have family from there.
Nice.
That's weird.
But he wanted to leave that behind in his pursuit of big money.
Of course.
On Press Your Luck.
No whammies.
Peter asked him if he brought the ice cream truck, and he said no. And because this is how game show banter went.
And then he slapped him in the face.
Like, how dare you?
How dare you?
And he's like, well, it would have been a great day for it because we didn't have a lot of orders. Must have been hot in LA in that day. Also, we're in LA. And
we are?
Yeah. Does this not look like LA?
Right, obviously.
And then he was just like, well, you could buy a lot of ice cream with that money. And he was like, well, I wouldn't do that either because I'm tired of it or something like that.
Oh, so he was like awkward?
He's a very odd man. We'll get to that part too.
Oh, boy.
Janie, our third contestant.
Of
and
course,
maybe the
Janie.
most 80s look I've ever seen.
Can I... teased hair.
Wasn't full teased. It was like that... She was young. She was probably...
Hairsprayed at least.
Yeah, it was like... it looked like... You know the top of a microphone? Like, not full fro, but it's like that up and hairspray look. She had that.
When you can, like, see through it, it's it looks like candy floss.
Yeah, it wasn't that big,
you know what I'm talking about? It's like if you held her up to light, you could read through her.
Right, yeah.
It's like that, yeah.
She looked like an eraser on her head,
Yeah.
Like a small eraser. And then she wore this red blouse that had, like, white piping on the collar, and it had, like, that really frilly piping.
Did she have glasses?
No glasses.
Oh, I was hoping for those like retro square, like really thick Coke bottle glasses.
Also,
you always
I wanted
saw.
to be said, she's young, by the way. She was young. I know this sounds like I'm describing like a librarian. She was really young. She was probably like early 20s.
That was probably super hip in '84.
Oh yeah, and she had like a lot of rouge on.
Oh
and, like, some dark eye makeup. It was very good.
They probably did that to her backstage too.
Oh yeah,
they probably
If you're wondering, Peter Tamarkin was wearing a cream suit with like a lightly... Everything was like blush colored. It was like a cream suit with like a light pink shirt and then like a light blue tie.
Everything
wasn't a very good look. No contrast.
Like the shows in the 70s and 80s, like everything felt like you stepped into a pastel painting on acid. Like it felt like all of those shows are so weird because they're so washed out. Like the colors are so weird. Yeah. It's so weird looking back at it now.
Game shows. And Janie is just happy to be there.
Of course. Yeah.
She said she was there to win some money and have some fun. Well, she is the most standard game show contestant I've ever seen. She's one of those people that, like, she gets some of the trivia questions right, but she comes off as very, like, bubbly and almost ditzy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, they casted her just because she's cute.
She's just hoping not to get kissed.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Because
they were always so creepy and, like, kissing him on the cheeks and, like...
Oh, that was the Family Feud.
Yeah, like, awesome. Rubbing his face all over you and stuff. Like, that's weird. Don't do that.
Now, don't... To be fair, some of those ladies, if you go back, were like horny for that kiss.
Some of those ladies were like turning their mouths to him. Oh, yeah. But the ones he wanted to smooch were the ones that were like, hello, I'm barely legal. Please
I'm
stop.
married to this man.
Yeah, I'm married to the man next to you.
He's
please.
Right here.
Yeah, please put your tongue back in your mouth.
Lovely.
Oh, you look scrumptious today. I don't know why we sound like we're 80 while we're doing the voice.
Yeah, also was like a 40-year-old guy.
Yeah, he was like in his mid-40s. We're talking like he's a creepy old uncle.
Do you remember, weird aside, do you remember the part of Family Feud where they would, this is true, and I religiously lived on the Game Show Network as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was the first, when we got, like, the Cable Plus package.
It was a big deal. Right. I remember that.
It was the first, like, non-cable, that was just, like, not sports, and I mean, I love sports.
The GSN in the bottom right-hand corner? Like, I remember that. Yeah,
I love GSN. And it was, like, GSN and ESPN Classic. I was very much in the 80s as a kid.
Yeah.
There was a segment in time for Family Feud where they had, you know, when you go to like a Walmart or something, and they've got the displays that have the little stickers in them, or the little suckers in them. Sorry, the suckers.
I think. Yeah.
One tower, and they've got all the little holes, and the suckers are like stuck in.
Stuck in, yeah.
There was a part of Family Feud where you would go and grab a sucker.
What?
And it determined like how much money bonus you were playing for in the final round or something.
What?
But the sucker had like little dots on it to determine what
Richard Dawson
color.
made those and brought those
yeah,
from home.
was so creepy. I swear this happened.
They had like sleeping medicine in them, and he brought them and then only gave them to the young women.
Yeah, the women always picked them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that was a thing.
That's weird. Okay.
So, unless I may be conflating something for something, but there was definitely like something they picked out that had a color on it, and I thought it was a sucker because it looked like those sucker things, but maybe it wasn't a sucker. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Well, that's canon for me now.
Back to Press Your Luck. As customary, the game began with the first of two rounds, in which contestants answered questions to earn spins for the big board. The big board. I'm thinking like they call Roman Reigns the big dog in wrestling, so that's what I'm just thinking.
Step right up to the big board. The big board.
Of course, you know how that works. Larson's. Sorry, that's a bit of a spoiler. So on the
spoiler,
things went ahead as normal. On the second question, host Peter Tamarkin asked, "You've probably got President Franklin D. Roosevelt in your pocket or purse right now, because his likeness is on the head side." And then Larson buzzed in and answered a $50 bill, which is not FDR, that's USS Grant.
That's Grant, yeah.
And then Tamarkin finished his question by saying, "What American coin?"
Oh.
With the answer being a dime, the other choice being a nickel. Larson did not buzz in again that round, answering the last two questions multiple choice, finishing with 3 spins behind Ed Long's 4 and Janie Littress's 10. Sorry, she had 10, not 7. I thought she had 7 for some reason. With the fewest spins, Larson went first. On his first spin, he hit a whammy. However, on his next 2, he hit square 4 twice for $12.50 and finished the round with $2,500.
Wow.
Ed finished the round without a whammy and won $4,000.
Okay, Ed, all right.
Jeannie finished the round with $4,600, putting Larson in last place.
Ooh, okay.
Second round. Okay. This is where the fun begins.
Uh-oh.
Larson earned a total of 7 spins in the second question round, did really well.
Okay.
Since he was in third place, he got to play the first at the big board.
Uh-oh.
And this is where he started just taking off. Larson spun a few times and quickly got to $10,000, only losing 1 spin. So he got like $5,000 and a spin, and then like $3,000 in a spin, $2,000 in a spin.
Dang.
So he got really lucky with the first start.
Okay.
And then he stopped on a trip to Kauai, which is a place in Hawaii.
Okay.
And then $700 in another spin. He landed on a pick a corner square, which means you either pick... there are 4 corners of the board.
Yeah.
One of the squares says pick a corner, and then the other 3 were different things. So like $2,250, $2,000 in a spin, or like a trip. So which one do you want more?
Okay, so they weren't covered, and then you pick it. They were...
Right. Yeah, it's a good spot to land on, so you get your pick of those.
What if the other 3 were whammies?
That would have been awesome.
Would you have to pick them?
I'm sure you would, but I don't think it ever worked out that way. I think if pick a corner was play, then all corners were in play.
Oh, I would have... as the person that was like making sure it was rigged, I would absolutely do that to somebody.
Yeah.
Put all the whammies in the corners.
And then he won a sailboat worth of $1,000.
He won a sailboat?
Yep, a sailboat was a prize they gave away in 1984. Don't know what you're going to do with that in Ohio, but...
For $1,000? Okay.
Yeah. Again, inflation.
Rowboat.
After the sailboat, Larson continued his tear. Tamarkin was increasingly astounded that Larson was still spinning despite not having seen a whammy for so long. So he was probably around the $20,000 mark or so when like Tamarkin, the host, was just like kind of like, "Oh, you're still gonna press your luck? Like, are you sure about that?"
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Yeah, let's go, let's keep going." Also, I need to describe you. I didn't describe the way he looked. I described the other 2.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen Rick Rubin, the music producer?
Yes, I think so.
He looked kind of like Rick Rubin, but with a shorter beard.
Okay.
Not a very... He looked... You can look up a picture of this guy if you want.
Oh, okay.
He looked up... his name is Michael Larson. Spelled like Brie Larson.
Okay.
He looked just like a very homely... standard dude with like a gray beard and slick back thinning hair at the top.
He kind of looks like the villain of a werewolf movie where like
an evil archaeologist kind of.
Oh, you know who he looks like?
Who?
Oh, who's that dude? Who's that dude? Josh something that's on the it's gonna kill me.
Josh.
Yeah.
What was he on?
Oh, he was on Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy.
This is really helping that you're not saying.
Yeah, well, I don't know what he's on. I don't know what it's called. It was Fringe. He was on Fringe.
Oh, Joshua Jackson.
Yeah, he looks like an old Joshua Jackson.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you get that?
That's actually who I was thinking when you said Josh, but I didn't want to jump in.
Do you get that from that face?
Yeah. Like a creepy Joshua Jackson. Like an old, creepy Joshua Jackson.
Like an old, creepy Joshua Jackson.
Rick Rubin, I think, is the more accurate.
That's what he looks like.
Look up Rick Rubin, though.
Okay, but look at this one. This is another portion of our audio only podcast where we show each other pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. Who'd you say?
I'm looking up Rick Rubin. You look up Joshua Jackson, which again I see it.
What does Joshua Jackson look like now, though?
I don't. The same.
We're about to find out.
It was like 7 years ago. It wasn't that long.
Was it 7 years ago? You sure?
It was like it was in like
look,
high school.
Come on.
Yeah. No, like creepy Joshua Jackson. I get it.
That's what he's gonna look like in 10 years.
Okay, but for me giving you a mental image though.
Yeah.
Imagine this guy with a shorter beard.
Yeah, okay.
It's Rick Rubin. He has Rick Rubin's exact hairstyle and beard.
Well, I mean, like, it's the crazy old white man hairstyle. It's not.
He's the only famous person.
Rick Rubin doesn't own it. Like, you know.
Rick Rubin owns everything.
Ohio, old school Ohio is what owns it.
Yeah, that's true.
He looks like he's the villain in a werewolf movie and that is helping the protagonist throughout the entire film. And at the very end of it, he turns into a werewolf. And the whole time he was the bad guy. Oh. And you thought, like, oh, I feel like something's coming. And then he's the bad guy at the end.
For some reason, I was thinking that the protagonist would be a werewolf because the only werewolf movie that came to mind was the Michael J. Fox American Werewolf song. What was the name of that? Teenage Werewolf?
Teenage Werewolf, yeah. Wasn't it?
Was it Teen Wolf?
Teen Wolf.
Well,
yeah, why did we say teenage werewolf? Why did we do the whole word?
The VHS knockoff.
Why did we do?
I was thinking of American Werewolf in London too, and that's where.
Oh, okay. So that was like a serious one. Yeah, that was like a serious one. The Michael J. Fox version was like the fun, like.
Yeah, he rides a bus.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
He slams
1985.
So it would have been
this is where they got their inspiration.
Well,
they got their inspiration from him. No, but he was definitely a werewolf.
All right, so
okay, carry on.
The teen wolf himself, Michael Larson, continued to. Lydia's pulled up a picture of Michael Larson, who is in Glee, at probably not landing on a whammy.
He looks like a rat man.
Yeah, he's not a very attractive man. So Michael Larson just continued to spin. He spun and spun and spun some more. I wrote that in my notes. And started to pass numbers that Tamarkin could not believe. Passed the record for the game show incredibly quickly.
Okay.
He was passing the likes of $40,000, $50,000, and $60,000.
But he wasn't supposed to be able to do that. Wasn't there a cap?
So there's a cap for one game earnings. There's a cap for you not being able to return not on earnings.
Oh.
So you could win as ever much you want. You just can't come back the next day.
Oh, okay.
That's the cap for $25,000.
Okay.
That's when you have to retire.
Gotcha.
So Tamarkin is the best part of this entire thing, the host, because he is becoming flabbergasted at this.
And
guy.
you know they're like in his ear, like, we have to stop this guy.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know, because in the documentary, he's the one who narrates it. And I honestly think Tamarkin was kind of on his side.
Really?
Because he's like, I was sitting here thinking, dude, you're going to lose this money. You need to stop. Because think about it. He's taking a 1 in 6 shot every time he spins.
Yeah.
He eventually gets up to spins where Tamarkin is telling him, you've spun 31 times. You've spun 32 times. Nobody ever done anything close.
Jeez.
He started the round with 7.
Right.
And he spun 32, 33,
can you
34
imagine
times.
How bored you would be if you were up there with him?
Oh, they actually asked the other
contestants,
chilling. And Ed was just like flabbergasted. He didn't know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
Jeannie was like pissed. She was saying that she was like, I just kept applauding and watching, and I was getting madder and madder because I was supposed to win.
Oh,
and I was like, damn, Jeannie, upset.
Jeannie.
Or Janie, whatever her name is.
Janie? Come on.
So
we don't care about her. She's not Michael Larson.
She's not Michael Larson. So Larson finally decided to stop spinning with 4 spins left in his bank account. He stayed at 4 for a while.
Okay.
Like just kept earning 1 spins. With a total of $102,851. So the show was in very old school game show style. Had like the board that had the $sign and then the numbers next to it.
And they couldn't fit them all?
They had to remove the $sign to put the 1 in. They had never seen it before.
Oh.
The record was like $33,000.
Right. That's insane.
For clarity, by the way, I have to tell you about this. Janie, whatever her name. I don't know what call her. I think it's Janie. I think I've been calling her Janie.
Janie.
Let me look. It is Janie. So Janie had $3,000 in the first round, and of course you carry the first round over the second round.
Yeah.
And the crowd was like, "Oh!" When she decided to spin with $3,000, they're all like,
"Oh, like risky."
Yeah, like that's something.
Ooh.
The crowd during this whole thing is amazing.
Like freaking out.
You can find the whole episode on YouTube.
Yeah.
And fun fact, the episode was so long because he kept spinning that they had to cut it into 2 episodes.
Oh my god.
Never happened before or after that. They had to stop it and like they chroma keyed the host on like a freeze frame of the contestants when he hit like $30,000. Is like, this is unprecedented, but we'll see you next week for the follow-up for the finale of this episode.
Also, like, imagine though, like the producers had to have been freaking out because they were like, "This has never happened before.
Oh, yeah.
Our numbers are going to be phenomenal." Because to them, like, oh, he's going to lose it,
right?
Like in their minds,
you have to see if he loses it or not,
right? Like that, you have to tune in to see if he's going to win all this money or not.
Right.
So the producers are knowing full well that we're going to get a huge turnout next time.
We'll get to their reaction later. But the crowd is absolutely losing their mind. Like, it is akin to a crowd at a buzzer beater at a basketball game.
Oh my God.
For like the last 10 minutes of the episode.
So every time he spins.
Every time, because he just keeps like gesturing pretty wildly. Like he's feeding off the energy, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's getting kind of cocky. And at some points you can see him get like tired. Like he's physically exhausted by this process. But he's like signaling over his head, like, let's go.
Little finger guns.
That would be awesome if he did finger guns. I would have lost my shit. But the crowd is like yelling. So much so that when he gets to the $102,000, he stops and throws his hands up in like celebration.
Yeah.
Because nobody's ever gotten there. There's nobody's getting there. Nobody's getting touched. And the crowd gives him a standing ovation.
Oh my God.
At a game show. It's awesome.
And
you don't see it, but they talked about it.
Okay.
I wish you could.
I was gonna say that would have been an amazing view to see the camera cut to the audience.
So then Ed goes. He has like 4 spins. He does nothing with it. He like whammies early on.
Tell everybody the face that you just made. You're like, Ed goes, whatever. Like you rolled your eyes and like did this hand motion.
He's a non-factor.
You did this motion like whatever.
He did. As soon as Larson stopped, Ed went and got a whammy on the first turn. And Tamarkin was like, "Did you know that was coming?" Like was like joking with him. He was like, "I think you saw something coming." So
that's why he stopped. You think? Oh.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I promise.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Ed then hits $5,000 in a spin, which is the best spot you can hit. Like that's the highest amount of money you can get in one turn.
Okay.
And then hits it again. And when he hits it again, Tamarkin's like, "What is going on?" Like he is just exhausted and flabbergasted by this whole affair. At one point, Tamarkin, who's like a very straightforward game show host, who's like, "Hey, we're here for all this kind of stuff."
Yeah.
At one point when Larson is spinning, when Michael is spinning, he's just like, he's got $80,000 and he's spinning again. Like high pitched voice, everything. Like goes full falsetto.
Loses
has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And seems like a really cool guy in the interviews and stuff. He was like super about it and he was cool.
That's cool. I mean, it wasn't his money he was losing, so.
So when Larson passed the 4 spins that he had left.
Yeah.
It went to Janie.
Uh-oh.
So Janie was the leader. She had like $4,000 or something.
Okay.
Which is pennies compared to the $104,000 that he's sitting on.
Yeah.
And so Janie hits a whammy.
Oh.
And by that rule,
imagine how mad.
I know. And by that rule, her past round or past spins then become into like the earned column where she could spin or she could pass them herself. If she wanted to. So she spins like twice, get like $6,000. I don't remember, but then she passes.
Okay, so it goes back to Larson.
So Larson has to spin some more. He has $104,000 on the board,
and he has to spin
3 times.
3.
Yes, because that's how many she passes back. Because she had her own, and then.
Oh, do you think that she was just like, lose all your money?
Well, to be fair, that is the only way she's going to win.
Yeah,
because she can't catch him with $100,000.
Yeah, she's got to try to sabotage him.
So she's got to try to make him lose it all.
Yeah,
and then she can walk away with the $8,000 she had or whatever. It was a good strategy.
Yeah.
So he then spun. I'm just going to paraphrase past my notes. He then spun 3 more times, and still never hit a whammy somehow. And like when she passed it back, he's like, you could see he's like about to break. He's just like,
oh,
I didn't want him.
Yeah.
Like he just says, I didn't want him. And it's the weirdest, like, oh God, okay.
Yeah.
So he wins a trip to the Bahamas.
So he's won 2 trips in a boat.
Yes.
At this
and
point.
like an exercise bike and a home gym or something like that. He won a lot of prizes. He wins a trip to the Bahamas with his last square on spin 40. He spun 40 times. You're supposed to hit a whammy 1 in 6 times. He never hit one.
He never hit one.
40 spins. The statistical anomaly, that's incredible.
I was going to say, that's like, isn't that statistically impossible?
It is.
Ah.
So as he landed on the Bahamas, the host said, with that money, you could buy the Bahamas, Michael. Because money was a weird concept in 1984, I guess.
Yeah.
$100,000 to buy the Bahamas. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Larson's final total was $110,237.
Wow.
Which is about $212,000 at this time in 2019.
Jeez.
Which was $104,000 of that was cash.
Oh my God.
So the prizes only amounted to like $6,000. At the end of the episode, Tamarkin asked Larson why he decided not to pass his remaining spins before he did. Like, why did you not stop at 30,000 or 40,000?
Yeah.
Considering the lead he rapidly gained over his opponents. Sidestepping, revealing how he won the game, Larson responded with, well, 2 things. 1, it felt right. And 2nd, I still had 7 spins, and if I passed them, somebody could have done what I did. So how'd he do it?
He cheated somehow.
Michael Larson began recording episodes of Press Your Luck shortly after its premiere on CBS in September of 1983.
How did one get on this show?
Like all game shows, you just went there and they
just showed up and auditioned. Okay.
Yeah. If you had a lot of spunk and you were able to put on TV, or if you had a good story, that's how they did it.
If I know one thing about old Larson, it's he had a ton of spunk.
A lot of built up spunk.
Full of that spunk, they say.
So, anyway, also I want to say here that Larson, they show it in the documentary, had like 6 TVs stacked up.
So he was kind of like crazy like a fox.
He was enterprising, I guess. He was very...
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, he really wanted to find his, solution. So his, ex-wife talked about how...
Oh, he had an ex-wife? Big surprise. Maybe because he had 6 TVs and he just stared at the whammy show all day.
She actually talked about how that put a strain on the relationship.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But he was like, or she said that he was a very intelligent guy, but you could always tell he thought he was the smartest guy in the room.
He looked too much like a werewolf.
And he was trying to come up with the next great way for him to make some cash and all that kind of stuff. So...
Did he? So he had... I was going to ask if he had a job, but he did have a job. He was
Well, he was unemployed and just drove the ice cream truck in the summer. So he was trying to find his way out. He loved the news.
He wanted a get rich quick scheme.
Right.
Exactly. Okay.
So he started recording Press Your Luck.
Okay.
As he was watching, he noticed that the randomizer that moved the light indicator around the 18-square big board had only 5 patterns.
Wow.
Larson began memorizing these patterns, increasingly confident he could predict when and where the randomizer would land. As he locked in the patterns, Larson began playing along with the big board rounds to test his hypothesis, pausing his VHS tape at various intervals with the remote controller.
Oh my God.
To see if he could land on the right spot. Moreover, and this is awesome.
Okay.
I have the utmost respect for this guy, by the way.
I mean...
the documentary kind of vilifies him and talks about how weird he is, and he's a very weird guy.
Yeah.
But for this stunt, I think he's a genius.
It obviously takes a lot to be... I don't know a lot of what, but it takes a lot to be able to sit there and realize that there's a pattern to it.
He literally saw the Matrix.
That's
exactly what he did.
And then realize you can game the system and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to get a bunch of money then.
Now, I want to say that this sounds 5 patterns of 18 squares. That doesn't sound that hard to memorize, right?
Well...
They showed just one, during the documentary, they showed just one snippet of one pattern and had the old 2 contestants, Ed and Janie, they came back and tried to memorize it, and they barely could. And they eventually did, but that was one snippet of one section
of 5 patterns.
They both said that they were like, I don't know how I did it. They were both so shocked at how this was an undertaking.
Yeah.
Even
absolutely.
once they pointed out the way he went, the sections that he did, I could see it and still not see it on other patterns. Because he had to learn 5 different
That's
sets.
like the people that can pick up a Rubik's Cube and know how to solve it just by looking at where the colors are on the block. That's maddening to me. I'm like, I don't understand how you could do that.
Moreover, Larson discovered that the 4th and 8th squares, if you count the board like from one in the top left corner and they go clockwise, always contain cash and never a whammy. Oh. There were 2 squares on the board that never had whammies.
Okay, so when they would hit the button, would it be like a super fast doot 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 doot, or would it stop immediately?
When you hit the button?
Yeah.
It stopped. It wasn't
immediately.
like...
Okay, so it wasn't like...
More like Wheel of Fortune where it just
So it was a instant...
As soon as you stop it, it stops.
If it had been the other way, it would have been harder for him to game it.
Sure. Yeah.
Because he would have had to... He'd have to know ahead of time. Like, he'd have to memorize them 4 steps behind where they should have been.
Right.
Which would have been harder. Which maybe they should have done. But I guess they didn't count on somebody memorizing all the patterns.
Yeah, I also want to say, and they talked about this, that this is 1984. Computing technology was not very far.
Right.
They showed the initial board that did the controlling.
Yeah.
And it looks like every old piece of technology that, you know, it's just like, looks like an old VHS or something.
So you said there's 5? There probably was like... one that ran forward and back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 2 that ran forward and back, which made 4 total, and then one that was completely random from those, because that seems like the easiest way to do it.
But the thought is, and if you just watched it and you didn't know, it seems totally random.
Yeah, for sure.
But to see through the matrix is impressive.
Yeah.
But he discovered that those spots never had a whammy. Larson also learned that square number 4 always contained top dollar values, and that in the second round, contestants were awarded with an additional span if landing on those spots. So $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 in square 4, $500, $750, and $1,000 in square 8. So that's how he kept spinning.
Yeah.
He literally always, except for a few instances, landed on a spot that
plus spin
added a spin. Right. Also, the first time he buzzed in, first round, he got a whammy. Because he didn't know how to account for the delay yet. Because he was used to pausing the VHS.
Yeah.
But then eventually got
obviously figured it out.
But it was literally him just adjusting the latency, which I thought was really interesting.
Huh.
In May 1984, Larson used most of his savings to fly to LA to audition for Press Your Luck. Contestant supervisor Bobby Edwards was suspicious of Larson's motives when he interviewed Larson on May 19th and was unwilling to allow him on the show.
Oh, shoot.
But executive producer Bill Carruthers overruled him, a move he said he later regretted. Now, I want to say, when this guy was talking about this, it seemed almost like he was protecting himself in the past.
Yeah.
It was like, I was suspicious of him the whole time.
Right.
I was like, no, you weren't.
Yeah, right.
You just say that now.
Which it would have been suspicious if he had immediately come in and got, like, a ton of money without any whammies at all. Like, that's immediately... They probably would have kicked him off the show. But the fact that he got the whammy at the beginning was like, he's just a normal dude with some really good luck.
Well, I think the thing, like, he is kind of a creepy guy.
Yeah.
Like, he seems kind of creepy. So maybe that was, like, off-putting, but he wasn't aware that he was going to try to game the system.
Yeah, no. Just by meeting him, no.
Yeah, and the other guy was like, listen, the dude used his life savings to get here. That's a great thing you can say at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And then... he's very excited to be on Press Your Luck. I totally see why they let him on.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a Midwestern, normal guy.
Just salt of the earth kind of guy, like typical dude.
Larson was then added as a contestant and added to an episode of the taping.
What if they hadn't let him on? Like what would he have done?
He would just come back.
Because he didn't have any more money.
Right,
like he
but
used
he
his
probably
life
just
savings.
stay there and come back the next day.
That's so weird.
Because you could keep auditioning, I think. While waiting in the green room, Larson met Ed Long, a Baptist minister from California, who would then be one of his competitors. They struck up a conversation. Long recalled that Larson asked how many times Long had seen the show. When Ed replied he had seen it only once, Larson responded by looking at him as though he were from another planet, is what Ed said in the documentary.
Oh my god.
Larson told Long, I really hope we don't have to play each other.
Ooh.
Because he was like a Baptist guy and he was like didn't want to beat minister from California or something.
And then he didn't mind when he started getting all the money.
But they would of course face off as Long won his match and then would be the returning champion. After the broadcast of Larson's 2 episodes, CBS suppressed the episodes for 19 years.
Like didn't show them?
No.
For 19 years?
Never.
So that the only place that you could see them was if you were in the audience?
Well, no. So they aired them originally,
just the one time, and then not on reruns.
Then never reran it. Although that show was in syndication for a long time.
Gotcha. Okay.
On different networks. As both the network and Press Your Luck producer-creator Bill Carruthers at the time considered the incident to be one of their biggest embarrassments.
Oh, because I could kind of see that.
When USA Network and later Game Show Network bought the rights to rerun Press Your Luck, CBS and Carruthers insisted that the Larson episodes must not be aired.
Ooh. no.
On March 16th, 2003, and I remember being a kid watching this live, GSN was allowed to air the episodes as part of a 2-hour documentary called Big Bucks, The Press Your Luck Scandal, hosted and narrated by Tamarkin. This is what I watched.
That's cool.
It's on YouTube if you want to watch it.
That's cool.
The documentary was produced and aired by GSN in accordance with Lionsgate and RTL Group, the latter of which who owns the franchise, and brought all previous viewership records for the network, or broke all previous viewership, because 19 years and nobody had seen the episode.
Well, that would make sense why they would want to vilify him a little bit then, because if it had to go through, like, if it had to be approved by the people who, like, created the show, they probably,
they had to knock it down
they kind of wanted it to look like, look at this, like, really weird dude that just so happened to win some money, you know, but look at the weird way he did it. Like, they really had to put him in a bad light.
The Big Bucks documentary included additional footage directly from the original master tapes. It's cool because it's like, it shows the original network version and then like where they cut some stuff out of Tamarkin just like reacting, but you know, for time they had to cut it out.
Yeah.
And so after Press Your Luck, Larson became an assistant manager at a local Walmart stores in Dayton, Lebanon, Xenia, and Bellbrook, Ohio. He also ran a promotion and marketing company, Group Dynamics Downline, out of his Lebanon home.
Oh my goodness.
In November 1984, Larson learned about a local radio show promotion promising a $30,000 prize for matching a $1 bill's serial number with a random number read out on the air. So that was just some promotion that, you know, if we say these sets of numbers, you have a $1 bill that matches it, we'll give you $30,000.
Okay.
Because radio game shows were weird.
Yeah.
Over several days, he withdrew his remaining winnings in $1 bills.
Oh my God.
Examined each dollar, and upon discovering that he did not have the winning number, redeposited roughly half of the money. Larson left about $50,000 in his house in laundry bags because they were like counting it and just putting it away once you examined it and they didn't match the number, whatever.
Yeah.
And in December of that year, he and his family went out to a Christmas party.
Oh no!
They came back home.
Oh no!
The door was broken in.
Oh no!
And the money was stolen.
Oh no! I thought either it's gonna get stolen or his house is gonna burn down.
Yeah. Larson told TV Guide in 1994 that after the burglary, he called on the producers of Press Your Luck to stage a tournament of champions
He wanted
for a chance to do it again, and the producers declined.
Well, yeah, they're gonna decline, dude. You stole their money. Well, you didn't steal it, but you made them look like fools.
Right. In 1994, the release of the film Quiz Show, which...
Why is that familiar?
Quiz Show has John Turturro in it, and it's about the game show that was all actors. It was all staged.
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie. I really need to watch it. But that's another story for another time.
I've heard of that.
The release of the film Quiz Show renewed discussion about game show scandals, and Larson was interviewed on Good Morning America. By this time, he had been diagnosed with throat cancer, and his voice was noticeably weakened. He mentioned that he really wanted to take a shot at Jeopardy because he, quote, noticed some stuff about it in the interview. That was my favorite part because they showed that in the documentary.
Noticed some stuff?
I've noticed some stuff about Jeopardy. I want to try that.
Ooh.
Larson soon fled Ohio.
Fled?
After he got caught up in an illicit scheme to sell part of a foreign lottery.
What?
So it was like a nationwide calling scheme for like, you can enter the lottery if you give $5 to this number.
Oh, so like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, and he was... Well, it was like those like telemarketing schemes.
Yeah. And
he was part of it.
Oh my God.
His family was contacted by the SEC, the IRS, and the FBI, but his whereabouts were unknown until his death on February 16th, 1999 in Apopka, Florida.
So did he just...
49 years
he
old.
left his... he was 49?
Yeah.
Wow, he was young.
He's very young.
So he just left his family in Ohio?
Well, they had split because he was so obsessed with trying to get more rich off the money he already had.
Yeah.
And she didn't want any more of it, so she took $5,000 he kept in the bed and fled with the kids.
Aw.
And or kid or whatever. And they split. So then he was like still trying to get rich and couldn't get his mind off the dollar.
So for the rest of his life, he was trying to get back to the glory that he had.
That high, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted that 15 minutes of fame again.
But I want to talk about him because I think it's one of my favorite like weird tall tales that actually happened.
That's strange.
Like, it's just so bizarre to think of the guy sitting there night after night after night after night and just memorizing Press Your Luck.
Yeah.
And
I'm imagining like it's like a den. Like it's a windowless den. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I'm thinking like in the 80s, right? Like it's this like under your house.
It's like a sunken floor.
Yeah. It's like this windowless den and there's just TVs like literally stacked.
Yeah.
Like 3, you know what I mean? Like 3 and 3. And it's just him in an armchair, nothing else in the room.
You're pretty close to what the reenactment footage was.
You know, and he's just like looking at every single one of them. And I'm imagining
like a piece of paper and we're like,
I'm just imagining him in glasses and the reflection off of his glasses as his eyes are flicking around to each of the screens.
One thing I will say about the documentary that I didn't like, they very much are like talk about like how calculated and you know all that, and so like on each version of Press Your Luck, if you've never seen how the show is shot, the big screen in the middle, that the border of the little screens that you're trying to land on, the big screen in the middle is just the shot of the contestant waiting to buzz in. Mm-hmm. So it's like their face and then all the other boards around them, which is a really cool shot for the time.
Yeah.
And
it's normally the Press Your Luck logo, right?
Right, yeah. So that's what it shows when they're doing the trivia round, when it comes back around, it's their face. And they, like, go into this whole detail of, like, we have the time codes of the original thing. And if you slow this down frame by frame, you can see him react sort of negatively, because this isn't the spot he wanted to land on. It wasn't a whammy. What? But you see he's not thrilled. And then, like, in this one, as soon as he presses the button, he's thrilled, because he knows he's landed on the right spot. And all this stuff is so weird.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're going a little too far on this.
Like,
You made this a little fluffy.
Yeah, like, first of all, you're just as bad as him pausing all of the games in order to see the patterns. Like, how are you any different now that you're pausing to look at his face?
I didn't mention this. CBS tried their hardest to find a way not to pay him. So they didn't pay. They didn't pay him at first, and then they were like, they basically confirmed that they knew he was cheating.
So they're just trying to say it's like fraud or something. So
right,
he couldn't.
But there was nothing in the contract that said you couldn't do that. Like,
right.
Like,
because
not cheating.
There was no precedent for that. That had never happened before.
And it's not even cheating. He was just.
He memorized a pattern.
Yeah.
Cheating is like if you're like hacking into the system, or if you're in some way you like paid off the guy that runs the board. Like that's cheating. This was just like being clever.
He just beat the system.
Really,
And
you
so
were just being clever.
At the end of the day, they basically just like figured out that. Well, and there were some advocates that they said were like, no, we were trying to get him paid. Like he deserved that money. He beat us basically.
Yeah.
And so eventually, they had to pay out.
That's so weird. Like, I wonder if he just had to hound them and say, like, hey, give me my money.
I think they had, like, some board meetings and then figured out that there was nothing they could do.
Because, I mean, he couldn't have won in court. Like, he couldn't have paid for a, like...
I feel like he could have.
I mean, if he didn't have, like, the money for a lawyer, like, if he used his life savings on getting there, like, he's probably not going to have a lawyer to be able to stand up for him.
Would have taken it with...
You would think so, right? Like, because if he wins 100,000, I'll take 10% of whatever your winnings or whatever. Yeah. You were talking about game shows and like weird game show things, which made me think of Rodney Alcala. I think it's Alcala or Cala. He was an American serial killer that was on The Dating Show.
Oh, nice.
We can talk about him once, maybe someday later. But he won.
Oh, nice.
And he was which just goes to show you that people in the late 60s, all of 70s, and most of 80s didn't know anything when it came to a person that could be a murderer that's standing right next to you. So we'll have to talk about that sometime. But that's super clever. Like, I admire that. In a weird way.
I have the utmost respect for him.
I admire that. That's kind of like, he's like, okay, well, I saw a way to win and I took it.
Yeah.
And I won.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his downfall was his greed afterwards.
Sure.
Like, if he had just like...
Well, he even said on air that he was going to like invest in real estate. And if he had done that, he'd be fine.
He'd be fine, yeah. Well, probably not with the throat cancer, but...
Well,
like...
Sure, but...
I wonder, like...
He would have been chased out of Ohio.
It's weird to think of him basically... like coming from nothing, I assume, based on the fact that he used his life savings to get to, Los Angeles and then come back home with $100,000.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
That's bizarre.
I also forgot to mention that, like, what was I going to say? I forgot it again.
Oh, no.
Dang it. Oh, no, CBS changed the way they did the board after this.
Oh, so they randomize it like even more?
So they changed the system to where it would be 5 patterns of 18, and then they would switch the patterns every month.
Oh.
So you couldn't, game it that way. And then after, retooling and rebuilding the system or whatever, they had it randomized to 32 patterns of 18.
Oh. Yeah.
But they even showed during the documentary, okay, this is what he was looking for. When it hit the 2 block, it would go 2, 16, 9, 7, 4. And so he was waiting for the do, and then hit the 4.
So it's kind
of... But that was one section. It was insane.
Yeah, so he had to have known at any given time what each block was and where, it was going to start so that he could know where it was going to end.
Basically, he would look for, let's say he would look for wave the 2 lit up and then whatever lit up after the 2.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, all right, I know it's this many steps to either block 4 or 8, and that's all I'm going to do. Because every time a 4 and an 8 weren't a whammy. So whatever you land on there, you're good.
Yeah.
So that it was really fascinating to watch it once they revealed like that exact pattern. It's really cool.
And it's happening so quick too that you're not even aware that it's like.
I said the numbers slower than it would have. It was just like.
Yeah,
that was how much time.
Because in that, like, just looking at that GIF, it was so fast that you wouldn't think you'd be able to keep up with where it even was on the board.
Right, and it's funny watching that episode too because he's like crushing it, and then I just realized like these other Jamokes who are just at the whim of the randomness of the board.
Yeah.
They look so stupid because he's done it, and then they're just like, all right, no whammies, hit it.
Here I go, whammy, right? Like, and then you feel like a big idiot because this werewolf in the middle just got $100,000. Jeez, that's really interesting though. I like stuff like that because it's kind of sad in a way too though because it's like he rose so high and then fell twice as far as he had before.
Yeah,
that's pretty sad. Aw, I kind of feel bad for him now. Yeah,
he's kind of creepy.
Yeah, he did look a little creepy.
Threw aside his whole family life to win.
Yeah, I mean, money changes people though.
It does.
Like money, if he had lost and came home.
Probably would have been fine.
Probably would have been fine. Probably would have been obsessed with something else. Started something else.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Started some other obsession. But he kind of like, I'm teetering on feeling sorry for him and not, because it kind of sounded like he was like, well, I don't want to work, so I'm going to try to find a scheme to get rich. Yeah. And on that respect, like, oh, I don't care for that. Like, because he had a wife who was probably working and like trying to.
Funding his press your luck.
Right, yeah. Oh, imagine their bills. Their electricity.
Oh, yeah.
Based on 6 TVs.
And from that time period, too?
They have 6 VCRs? So he could record all of it?
Well, it would only... I don't know. I think he had, like, maybe, like... I think the 6 TVs were for, like, finding his next pursuit.
Oh.
Because that's how he ended up on Press Your Luck, is the way they made it sound in the doc.
Oh.
Because I imagine he would just have, like, 3 coax splitters, and then that's how they got all their cable to the 6 TVs, but...
He's probably stealing cable.
Yeah, probably.
He's probably stealing electricity. I don't know if I like him anymore.
I don't know if I like him, but I respect the hell out of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm not sure that I like him as a person, but I respect the hustle.
Yeah, you gotta respect the hustle. Liddy, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Team Liddy. Where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Stormstream.
We also have Twitter, Patreon,
YouTube,
Instagram,
Snapchat.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think
that's it. I think that we do the thing. We said YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. I think that's all we got. Thank you for teaching me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was really interesting. I liked it a lot.